Jimmy Thái xin kính chào quý vị khán giả của đài VNTV San Diego. Trước thềm năm mới, Jimmy Thái xin kính chúc quý vị một năm mới vui vẻ, mạnh khỏe và được mọi sự như ý. Thưa quý vị, hôm nay trong phòng thâu phim của chúng tôi có hai nhân vật rất quan trọng từ cái District Attorney Office, tức là văn phòng biện lý. Đó là ông Jesse Navarro and Dominic Dugo. Hello Jesse, hello Dominic.
Hello, Jimmy. How are you?
Very good.
Thanks for the privilege and the opportunity to be here providing good information to the Vietnamese community that we serve.
Okay.
Yeah, good evening, Jimmy. Pleasure to be here.
All right, great. Now, gentlemen, let's give our viewer a little bit background about yourself. How long you've been in your office and what is your main job, your main title? Let's start with you, Jesse.
Sure. I have a very unique job.
Okay.
I'm the Director of Community Relations. So that means, Jimmy, that I go out and meet and work with and provide information to all communities throughout San Diego County. And it's a great privilege. My background is from law enforcement.
Okay.
I've been in this occupation for almost 40 years.
40 years.
First as a police officer
right.
in the city of San Diego. And then I was an investigator.
Okay.
And now for the last 14 years, I've been the Director of Community Relations for the San Diego County District Attorney's Office, which is by far the best job that I ever had because I get the privilege of working with every community in San Diego County.
And Vietnamese community included.
Absolutely. I've been involved and supportive with the Vietnamese community for almost 14 years.
All right, great. All right, how about you, Dominic?
I'm an attorney,
Okay.
and I've been a deputy district attorney, a prosecutor for about 29 years here in San Diego.
All right.
And I'm the chief of the insurance fraud division. And we have a staff of about 60 investigators, prosecutors, and support staff that investigate and prosecute insurance fraud.
All right. So, Jesse, let's give our viewer the main message, the main focus of what are we going to talk about today.
Well, today we're going to talk about a very specific topic, which is insurance fraud.
Okay.
But I want the community to know that there, in addition to insurance fraud, we at the District Attorney's Office that I oversee, we also talk in the community and provide public safety information on many, many topics, such as juvenile delinquency, domestic violence, and many other important topics that are important to all communities, including our Vietnamese community.
All right.
Well, insurance fraud in California, what we're talking about, insurance fraud's set at about $15 billion a year is what the theft is of insurance fraud in the state of California.
$15 billion?
Yes.
Wow.
And it's the largest economic crime in the state. It's actually larger than tax evasion. Within that $15 billion, there's workers' compensation fraud and auto insurance fraud.
Okay. All right. So let's start with the worker compensation fraud first, right? How many type of worker compensation frauds are there?
Yeah, Jimmy, there are 4 types of workers' compensation fraud. And the first, in California, if you have a business and you have 1 or more employees, you must buy workers' comp insurance. And if you don't, it's a crime.
Right.
So that's the first type.
All right.
The second type would be if you have a business and you have employees, you buy your workers' comp insurance, but then you lie about your payroll. Let's say you have a restaurant or a nail salon.
Mm-hmm.
You have your workers' comp insurance, you have 10 employees. You only tell the insurance company you have 2 employees. And then you pay the other folks, the other 8 employees cash.
Uh-huh.
So that's workers' compensation fraud, that's premium fraud. That's actually a felony in workers' comp, but also that's tax evasion. And we investigate and prosecute the tax evasion in addition to the workers' compensation fraud.
Oh, okay. Now, how many cases of this you prosecute, let's say, on the annual?
Annually, well, for example, last year we prosecuted about close to 160 cases.
Okay. Wow.
And that's actually the largest in the state of California of any county.
All right.
Which means we prosecute more cases than Los Angeles District Attorney's Office.
Right. So you mentioned about type 1 and type 2. What are the other 2?
The third type would be what people commonly think of workers' compensation fraud. That's where a worker fakes an injury at work and then stays home and gets paid to stay at home. When they're fine, they can go back to work, and then they just drag on and stay at home for a year. That's a third type of workers' compensation fraud. And then the fourth type would be doctors, lawyers, chiropractors that don't treat patients or they fraudulently bill. So you see the chiropractor one time and he bills the insurance company for 20 visits. Or what has been most recently, Bonnie Dumanis, the district attorney of San Diego County, announced recently a big bust that our office did with the U.S. Attorney's Office and the FBI and the Department of Insurance, where medical providers, doctors, chiropractors, marketers, they were buying and selling patients, which is illegal. They were basically buying and selling patients in the workers' comp system.
Okay, right.
You can see that it applies to everybody.
Right.
It applies to employers. It applies to employees. It applies to everybody.
To the professionals
To the
that
professional
treating these people.
too. So this is why it's so important for us to communicate and get this information out.
Right.
All we want to do is prevent somebody from getting involved in criminal activity, or we don't want to make sure, we want to make sure that nobody becomes a victim of insurance fraud.
Right. So we not only talk about the workers here, we talk about the owner. It could be the restaurant owner, it could be the nail shop owners, right? It could be a spa owner. And then you talk about also the professional, the doctor, the dentist, the chiropractor that treat these people, even the lawyers too, right? Because they could be in this too.
Absolutely. And you know one other factor, Jimmy? San Diego County has become a very diverse community. We have people from all over the world.
Right.
So we want to make sure that people, the immigrant communities that come from all over the world, we want to make sure they're aware of this information. So we want to keep them safe, we want to keep them informed, and of course, we want to keep them out of trouble.
Okay. Now, so what are specific programs that you have to help people avoid all of these frauds? What if people don't know? Or what if people, a lot of them don't speak English, right? So they go to work and then their boss can tell them do whatever. They might not be aware. So what are the specific programs you and the DA office has to help these people?
Well, let's start with an employee.
Okay.
If you're working in a business, the law requires the employer to have workers' comp insurance, which means if you're injured at work, you're entitled to benefits, to see the doctor, various pay while you're injured. If an employer tells you you have to go to Tijuana and we're not going to let you file a workers' comp claim, that's a felony.
Right.
And what we do is we encourage you to call the district attorney's office. We have a hotline phone number. It's 1-800-315-7672 because we'll investigate and prosecute that, because if you're an injured worker, you're entitled to workers' comp benefits under the law in California.
Okay.
And that's true regardless of your status immigration-wise.
Our district attorney, Bonnie Dumanis, wants to make sure we're truly committed in making this information available to everybody.
Right.
So not only do we do it from the office, we go out and provide. Dominic and I go out and give talks to employers, to employees, any group, a small group or a large group. We go out and tell them about their rights, about responsibilities, but we also tell them about consequences of committing fraud. So we are truly committed in going out, educating and informing people so we can keep them, informed and keep them from becoming a victim for employees or from getting involved in criminal activity.
Now, do we have to meet certain size for you to come out? Or if like the nail salon with 5 employees, would you come and talk to those people, or they need to have a bigger?
There's no size. We'll go out to speak. We've spoken to small groups, large groups. If we can help, we'll do it.
Okay.
District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis, she's the District Attorney for San Diego County. She's actually leads the nation in crime prevention, and especially in the insurance fraud arena. And we have programs that Jesse discussed briefly, where we're educating the community that insurance fraud is a felony. And we have a message: don't do it, don't tolerate it, report it. Because our goal is, we don't need any more felons in the community. We prefer that people not commit the crime in the first place. Therefore, we're doing many programs throughout the year designed for crime prevention.
All right. Good. So don't do it, don't tolerate it, report it. All right. So if my neighbor owns 4 or 5 nail salons and seem like they keep reporting that they not making a lot of money, but they keep pay off their brand new cars and having nice purses, is that something that I can call the hotline and report?
Yes.
Or if you happen to be an employee who has been seriously injured and your employer doesn't have workers' comp, or has workers' comp and does not want to provide that benefit by law, you as an employee also have a right to be protected and be afforded, that representation. So we also, want to keep employees well informed and make sure that they understand what their rights are. But also, if we have employees that are lying or not providing good information, we'll also tell them about consequences of that.
Okay.
In some cases where employees are committing crimes, I'll give you some specific examples.
Please.
One might be the employee says, I hurt my back at work. And then they say they never had a back injury before. And then we discover that that person had 3 prior back injuries. That's a felony. That's a crime. That's workers' compensation fraud, because the employee is doing that because they get more money in the workers' comp claim because they claim they never had a back injury. So that's an example. Another type of an example might be a worker is playing soccer on Sunday and gets injured, goes to the emergency room.
Right.
And then on Monday comes to work and claims they were injured at work. It's a non-work injury.
That's right.
That's workers' compensation fraud. Another type, and this occurs in the landscaping, tree trimming business, where somebody claims they're injured, they can't work as a landscaper anymore. Right? And then that person's working for another company and being paid cash under the table. That's called the underground economy.
Right.
And to give you an idea, in California, the underground economy is estimated at $100 billion a year. Wow. It's very large, and this goes on. Now, in the workers' comp arena, that worker is collecting workers' comp benefits and at the same time working for another company being paid cash under the table. That's a felony.
I see. All right. A lot of information to share with our viewers today. Wonderful, gentlemen. Now, my last question, what are the things that we need to inform or we need to educate our employer, our employees, even our professional out there?
They need to understand what the law is.
Okay.
They need to understand what the obligations are as an employer. What are the obligations? What are the regulations, state laws and local regulations in order to comply? We want them to stay in business.
That's right.
We want them to be successful.
That's right.
But also, on the other hand, for employees, we want to make sure they understand they have rights if they're truly injured, and we want them to make sure that they understand what they need to do, which is report it.
Right.
But we also want to make sure that they understand that if they lie, there's consequences.
That's right.
And the last thing we want to do is close a business, and the last thing we want to do is put an employee in prison. We would rather prevent than prosecute.
That's right. Now, let's talk about auto insurance fraud. Dominic.
Well, Jimmy, auto insurance fraud is a serious problem also in San Diego County.
Okay.
And that's also estimated statewide in the billions of dollars of losses.
$billions again.
Yes.
Wow.
Now, what are the type of cases that we see?
Okay.
People might have let's say they drive a BMW. They have car insurance.
Right.
And then they have some problem with their car. And they decide to drive down to Tijuana to sell the car. And then they come back to San Diego and they call the CHP and they say, my car got stolen. And they try to collect the insurance money over here when they already sold the car in Mexico. Wow. That's called staged auto theft. Very common in San Diego County.
Wow.
Right.
People do that?
And part of the problem, Jamie, we live close to the border. So somebody who does that, they can be in another country, they can be in Mexico in 15 minutes. So therefore it makes it very practical. But it's not only in Mexico. People, go to other states, other part of California, and they do this. So it's a widespread problem that causes, a lot of cost and lots of problems in our region. But part of it because we are so close to the Mexican border.
Right.
And another type that's very common in California, if you drive a car, you're required to have auto insurance.
Correct.
So some people, what they do, because maybe they're financially strapped, bad economy, they let their auto insurance lapse.
Okay.
Therefore, they don't have any car insurance. They drive, they crash the car, or maybe it really does get stolen. Then they hurry up and they go to the insurance company and they buy an insurance policy. And then they claim the car got stolen tomorrow, which is false because it was stolen 2 days earlier. So they didn't have an insurance policy.
I see.
And that's a felony. That's a felony in California. because they're lying about the date of the theft, or they're lying about the date of the accident
right.
because they did not have insurance.
Okay.
And something that we also have a problem in San Diego County is with the military. We actually prosecute a number of auto insurance fraud cases involving military personnel. And what common type of scenario is they're going to be sent abroad. Maybe they have a car or motorcycle, they report it stolen, and they keep it in their garage. And we're doing quite active community outreach in military newspapers to warn military personnel that auto insurance is a felony.
Right.
Don't do it, don't tolerate it, report it, and it could ruin your military career.
That's right. Yeah. Good. So the message again for auto insurance fraud is that don't do it, don't tolerate it, and report it.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you, gentlemen.
The last word would be the one protection that you can have as an employer or an employee is just tell the truth.
Yeah.
If you tell the truth about whatever you did, you're not going to end up at the district attorney's office, because we only prosecute when you lie to get something you're not entitled to. So if you tell the truth and you get the benefit, you haven't committed any crime.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Kính thưa quý vị, để Jimmy Thái xin được tóm tắt lại cái buổi nói chuyện với ông Jesse và ông Dominic là ba cái điểm chính mà quý vị cần nhớ trong các vấn đề mà workers compensation fraud and auto insurance fraud. Là cái thứ nhất, mình là người có cái quyền lợi, tức là không những là quý vị đi làm, quý vị làm chủ, hay là quý vị là những cái người professional, doctor hay là nha sĩ hay là chiropractor, mình phải biết tất cả những cái gì là sai, cái gì là đúng. Tại cái đó đầu tiên mình phải biết, tại đó là cái right của mình. Và cái thứ hai nữa là văn phòng của hai ông này sẽ tới nói chuyện với quý vị nếu quý vị cần cái sự giáo dục, tại vì người ta sẽ chỉ cho mình tất cả những cái điều kiện mình cần biết. Và cái số điện thoại của hai ông nó sẽ nằm dưới đây để mà quý vị gọi vào. Và cái điều thứ ba nữa là cái bà District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis, bà rất là serious about prosecute những người này, cho nên cái message của bà là don't do it, don't tolerate it và report it. Dịch ra tiếng Việt là không làm, không có được dung túng, và cái thứ ba nữa là mình phải báo cáo những người làm sai. Và với cái sự tóm tắt như vậy thì Jimmy Thái xin tạm ngưng cái chương trình Straight Talk Today. Cảm ơn sự lắng nghe của quý vị và xin cảm ơn Jesse and Dominic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.